with everything going on right now, with the economy going crazy and a lot of fears, a lot of concerns, I want to talk about uh, what you can do if your offers that were previously working have stopped working. If you have marketing campaigns, marketing funnels, if you have offers out there that were working before all this craziness and have since either stopped working or are no longer as effective as they once were, I want to give you something to think about. I want to give you something that you can try. First and foremost, I want you to understand that people are still buying. People are still spending money today. The only difference is what they're spending money on, and really their motivation, their emotions, right? Their motivations and their needs. There are some products that are selling faster now than they were before all of this craziness, right? There are things like video gaming systems and video games, digital media. Of course, we know things like paper products, toilet paper, paper towels, all that kind of stuff. Home fitness equipment is selling like crazy. And so there are still things that are being sold. There are still people that are buying, right? People are still spending money. The only thing that has changed are the motivations, the needs. And so why am I sharing this with you, right? Like this is, it's probably you get this. Because what I want you to understand, what I want you to think about is the reason why people buy any product, any service in any marketplace, any industry, regardless of the price point, is always determined by their needs, by their emotions, right? By what it is that they want. And so, look, I want to boil this down for you, and I really want to make this quick and just give you this to think about. I want you to look at your marketplace. I want you to look at your product and I want you to look at your marketplace. And I want you to ask yourself, what is it that is currently driving my market? What is their current psychology? What are their current problems, their current fears? And how does my product relate to that? How can I change the core of my message? How can I change the appeal of my product or service to fit what it is that the market is thinking about, what the market is feeling? In other words, the appeal that you were using 3 weeks ago or a month ago to get the attention of your marketplace, to lead your marketplace to buy, may no longer be the right appeal. It may no longer be the thing that's top of the mind for them. It may no longer be the core emotional driver that they have right now. That may have been the core driver, the core motivation, the core want, the core need weeks ago. But right now, it's different. What people are thinking about, what people are afraid of, what people are concerned with, their current needs are different today than they were just weeks ago. And so if you are trying to market and sell your product or service based on the emotions, the needs, the wants, the fears, the concerns from weeks ago, well, it might not be resonating. And so what you've really got to do is you've really got to look at, like, look, the one thing that you're call it married to, right? The one core thing that you're married to is your product. But how you present that product, how you position that product, how you frame that product, what you talk about as it relates to what your product or service does for the prospect, for your marketplace, that should be fluid, right? How you position your product or service in terms of what it does and what it'll do for the prospect should always be driven by your prospect's emotions, your prospect's psychology, your prospect's wants, needs, desires, fears, etc. Your hook is not your hook, your messaging, your idea, the lead of your campaign, really the entire campaign, all of your marketing for that matter, is not set in stone. Just because your product is what your product is, right, doesn't mean that your marketing has to remain whatever your marketing is right now. Just because you had a campaign for a particular product that worked before and now it doesn't work doesn't mean that people won't buy your product or service. Doesn't mean that people aren't interested in the value from your product or service. But what it may mean is that you've got to change your appeal. You've got to change your hook. You've got to change the idea. And you've got to tap into what is top of mind for your market. You have to take a step back and you have to ask yourself, first and foremost, always, good times or bad, what is it that motivates my prospect, that's driving my prospect? What is it that they want, right? And how can I demonstrate, how can I show them that my product or service will give them what they want, will fulfill their desires, will fulfill their needs, will alleviate or keep them safe from the thing that they are afraid of? And so, a lot of different ways that you can position and frame any product or service. You just have to think about how can you present your product or service based on what it is that your prospects want today. One other very quick thing before I leave you for you to think about is the strategy of re-leading a campaign. Re-leading is nothing more than adjusting the lead of your campaign, right? The lead of your campaign is the first 350, 400, 500, 600 words of your campaign. And that lead is there to really set the emotional hook, to make the emotional sale, right? So the first 350, 400, 500 words that come out of your mouth in your marketing campaign, whether on a webinar, whether in a video sales letter, whether in a long form sales letter, whether in a multi-part video sequence, it doesn't matter. The lead is always the beginning of your campaign, and the beginning of your campaign is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to set the emotional hook, right? To get your prospect to say, this sounds amazing, this sounds perfect, this sounds like exactly what I would want, what I need right now. Now prove it to me, right? Now prove to me that it'll work and that it'll work for me, which is what you do in the rest of your campaign. The idea, the strategy of re-leading is you could take an existing campaign, you can take an existing offer, you can take an existing product or service, and you can redo the lead. And you would redo the lead based on what it is that your prospect is thinking about, concerned with right now. Just remember, right? So you can re-lead. I have seen campaigns that have lived on, offers that have lived on for a very long time simply by having the lead redone, re-leading the campaign, right? So 80% of the offer, 80% of the promotion, 80% of the campaign remains the same, and we can re-lead the front part based on what is currently taking place in your prospect's mind. Just remember this. I want to leave you with this. Just remember that all marketing, in good times or bad, should always be driven by your market, by your prospects, by what they want, right? What their desires, right? The things that they are looking to experience, right? Their fears, their emotions, their feelings. It should always start with your prospect. And so the only thing that you have to realize today is that likely the hook, the appeal, the benefits, the promise, the focus of your campaigns that were working weeks ago, likely they're not working anymore because that appeal is no longer appropriate for where your prospect is at right now.